Hello and welcome back to some more F1 2020 and part 32 of my team career mode with Jordan GP Mercedes. Thank you for all the support on the return episode at the Canadian Grand Prix. This is actually the first one I've recorded since my break, the first F1 video I've recorded at least. So that one was recorded before the break, and that's why I was talking about daily and bi-daily things, because that's what we were talking about at the time. Basically, I think this series will be going to 3 times a week from next week. I'm not running on a schedule this week, but hopefully from Monday I'll have an idea of what I want to do. Obviously, we've got PGA Tour Golf coming out this week. Content on that is starting tomorrow, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But today we've got the French Grand Prix, and I tell you what, we've had some good R&D upgrades since the last episode. Have a look at that, at how much performance we've gained. We're not quite at Mercedes level yet, but you know, we finished in the top 5 in all of the last 5 races. We've got an excellent chance of doing well this weekend as well. The pace has been good. We topped FP2. It'll be interesting to see what our qualifying pace is like, because in Canada it was a little bit shoddy, and that's why we had to really go for it in the race. And just to show you guys the weather forecast, where is it? There it is. under the name weather forecast, Joe. Come on. You can see in the race it is going to start off dry and then it's going to become wet. So I think we want to try and get through Q2 on the medium tyres, just so we can try and go a little bit longer into the race. So that's what we're looking at there. But thank you for all the support on the series so far. I really do appreciate it. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying. Looking at the championship so far, we are in 5th place. I think we can possibly finish 2nd this year. If we have a really strong end to the season, I think we can finish 2nd. I don't think we can overturn a 102-point deficit to Lewis Hamilton, but stranger things have happened. As I say, I think that the next few races are going to be our strongest Grand Prix of the season, all the way up to Italy, and then we may well struggle towards the end of the season like we did last year. But anyway, that is where I'm going to leave it for this part of the episode. Let's see how we get on in qualifying. Well, here we come round the final corner, a little bit wider than we wanted, but we come up to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 1:28.4, which is fastest at the moment. It wasn't the best lap in the world, but we'll certainly settle for it. A little bit wide there. I don't know how much quicker than Hamilton we were, but we'll certainly settle for that. Raikkonen goes P3 for the moment, but should be enough to get through to Q2. Well, I told you the pace was quick, 4.5 tenths quicker than Charles Leclerc on our fastest lap. Sergio Perez is in 4th there as well, so it could really be a strong weekend for us. Going out in Q1 then, Mick Schumacher, Romain Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi. Well, here we come then, up to the line on the medium tyres. I don't think this lap is going to be quite as good as last qualifying session. Actually 1.2 seconds slower, but only 0.6 slower than quickest man Hamilton is on the soft tyres. But that might not be enough to get through to Q3, and it's going to be an interesting decision of whether we switch on to the soft tyres or try again on these ones. Well, you can see very, very tight on whether we're going to get through to Q3 at present. I think we can get more out of the lap, which is why I'm tempted, and we'd be the only guy running on the medium tyres, so it would give us a huge advantage in the race if we could get through. So I'm actually I'm actually going to risk it on these medium tyres, get that second lap in, and we'll see what we can do. But could be the second consecutive race where we've tried to get through on mediums and come up short. Well, here we come up to the line. You can see much better lap time this time. We come up, what's it going to be? It's a 1:29 flat, which comfortably gets us through to Q3 in 9th place. Whew. So we have got the strategy advantage, I suppose, tomorrow, but on an extra lap, worn mediums, so that is going to be interesting. I mean, apparently we came through first, but definitely said 9th. But Albon goes out in Q2. Yeah, I'm very confused how that's just happened, but yeah, no idea. I could swear it said 9th, but never mind. There you go, we'll get through to Q3, and we know rain is coming, so we're going to have to get out there pretty quickly if we do want to get pole position. I think we'll have to get out there on soft tyres very, very fast indeed. Well, here we go then. Let's take on what could be the pole position lap for this French Grand Prix. I didn't record the pole position lap from Monaco, and we have a distinct possibility of getting pole today, so I thought we'd stay on board. I think that's maybe Lewis Hamilton up ahead, so you can see we've gone purple in the first sector, very, very tight through there. This car is just absolutely amazing now. It's almost the best in the field, and we're just pushing it to its absolute limit. Could have carried a bit more speed through there. Verstappen goes quicker, so 1:29.6. That's pretty slow from Verstappen. We're not purple through sector 2, so this is going to be very interesting. As Ocon now goes quickest, so that puts into perspective how slow Verstappen's lap was. Ocon has gone quicker. We've held it nicely through there. Hamilton goes quickest, so this must be Bottas in front of us. Keep an eye on his time as we've nailed the final corner. A little bit of curb out the exit. Bottas comes through, 1:28.4 for him. We come up to the line, it's a 1:28.3.
In the fastest lap. Good job.
So that is pole position for the moment. That felt like a really excellent lap. But you can see through the first sector we could have done even better, but you know, let's not go against the great work that we've done. Vettel pops up into 5th. I mean, Ocon has put in a sublime lap. Oh, we've run out of fuel, so we'll go back to the pits. Perez has gone 3rd, so he's split the Mercedes. So it's all very interesting.
The tank is empty.
I'm just going to drive straight through the barriers here. Bit of polystyrene there. Shouldn't have slowed down, actually. Going to struggle to get through. I mean, everybody's done their opening flying lap, so I don't worry too much about that. So let's just return to the garage and have a little look at the timing screens and see how close it is up there. We know Bottas put in a 1:28.4.
So far, our fastest lap is a
Oh, and Leclerc's popped in there as well. I mean, look how close it is between the top 3. Only 600ths of a second. Perez in 4th. I mean, Hamilton must be able to get more out of the car than that. Ocon and Ricciardo are pretty close in as well, which is amazing to see. Verstappen just well off the pace in the Red Bull. But yeah, we're going to have to potentially...
The car settings screen on your multifunction display will allow you to change various settings as you drive. Open the display with the MFD button. You can then navigate up and down to the setting you want to change.
we're going to have to potentially look at going out there quicker. I mean, the weather forecast said it was going to rain. It is apparently going to be heavy rain with wet track conditions. That hasn't happened yet. That's the forecast. So I think we probably need to get out there sooner rather than later, before the rain strikes. So I'll see you guys when we're out on the lap. And you can see it already is raining. So I think we've done enough here, because I bet you we're the only guy out on track right now, and these are going to be the best conditions for the rest of this session. So it's going to be a bit of a mixed up grid. Very nice to see. Well, as you can see, guys, you join me halfway around the lap, and it is just too wet out there. We're already a second down on our previous lap. There's no real need to push hard now. So we're going to come in at the end of this lap, and we'll have pole position. We will have pole position because nobody is going to be able to improve out there. So it's going to be our second of the season after Monaco, of course, and it was a lot tighter this time. But yeah, most people aren't even coming out again, so that just shows nothing else is going to happen. Perez has apparently gone out, but he is stopped at the end of the pit lane. Has he just come in, maybe? Not entirely sure. Or is it just that way right at the end of the garage? I guess that's what it is. But there you go. It's going to be a second pole position. We can't, unfortunately, skip this, but never mind. So a bit of an anticlimax, I guess, you know, because you didn't get that final run over the checkered flag in the waiting. But it was an exciting few minutes. You know, Ocon went quickest, then Hamilton, then Bottas, then us, and you know, that's what you want to see.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. The captain, Leclerc, and Valtteri Bottas. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So there we go then. We take pole position ahead of Charles Leclerc in second. Bottas is third. But remember, we're starting on the mediums and it's going to rain tomorrow. So let's hand over to David Croft and Anthony Davidson, who'll take you through this 2021 French Grand Prix.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. So, let's start with Lance Stroll. They're in for a tough race today. They'll be starting out of position due to a penalty from earlier in the weekend.
It's unfortunate, but it happens to everyone at some point. You just have to accept your fate, knuckle down and get on with the business of making up that deficit during the Grand Prix. So they'll be pushing hard today. One to watch for sure.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. The captain lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Perez, Lewis Hamilton and Ocon, Ricciardo, Vettel, Sainz and Max Verstappen, Albon, Fiat, Pierre Gasly and Norris, Raikkonen, Schumacher, Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen. Stroll, they've taken a grid penalty. Russell, Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are down on the track then, ready and raring to go. Really looking forward to this actually, this Grand Prix, starting from pole position of course, and we're just going to have to see how well we can do. Obviously the last time we started on pole position it all went wrong. We had a bit of an incident on the first lap here last year, lost a bit of our front wing I believe.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
And didn't have the best of times, but we know it probably is going to rain a little bit later on in the Grand Prix, so I think, you know, we don't want to look at strategy too much and kind of just call it on the fly if you like. So I think that's what we'll do. So here we go, let's get into the start of the race. So obviously we're leading us away.
Our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
So we need to get these tyres nice and hot. It was an interesting start procedure, seemed to get off the line very sluggish. But, you know, potentially we didn't get the revs up enough. But, yeah, track conditions look cold, to say the least. So it is going to be tough to get these medium tyres switched on. We need to beat Charles Leclerc in turn 1. I think that's the only way we're going to win this race, really. I think if we fall behind, these tyres are going to fall off very quickly. But if we can get a good start, that'll really help. So, you know, you can see the engine is really getting worn now. You know, these are our freshest parts. We do have a couple of new turbochargers and MGUKs, but I really refuse to use them before we've hit the halfway mark in this season. I'm hoping Sergio Perez can have a good race as well. Obviously we finished 1-2 in Baku earlier on in the season. That was an amazing result for the team. Perez again got some excellent points in Canada, so here we are reforming the grid. Leclerc's ghosted through us, but we should be alright coming through this final corner. You can see the Mercedes car there as well. But everybody on the soft tyres, so it's going to be a drag race down to turn 1. Luckily it's not one of the longest runs down to turn 1, so we might be okay as long as we get a good initial getaway. So well lined up on pole, Leclerc second, Bottas third, Perez fourth, Hamilton in 5th, and then I think we've got is it Vettel in 6th, or is it Ocon and Ricciardo? I can't quite remember, but here we are ready for the lights. Lights out, away we go. That was a very long hold of the lights. It was a decent start initially off the grid, but it's that second phase once again that Charles Leclerc managed to beat us in, but we managed to throw it down the inside and risk it into turn 1, and we are ahead of Leclerc going down into the twisty section for the first time. So it's a decent start for us. We know that we need to get through this second sector unscathed, though. Long straights meaning slipstream opportunities, so let's use a little bit of overtake through that corner, and you can see Charles Leclerc is right in our gearbox. Here he comes. He's going to have a little look down the inside. It's a drag race between the Jordan and the Ferrari. He's on our inside. We'll give him the room, but it gives us the inside into the next corner, and we are able to defend gracefully. But here he comes again. But we can hold it flat through here. We know not every car on the grid can do that. A little bit wide into that section there. That's where you can gain or lose a lot of time on your qualifying lap, but in the race I suppose it's not too bad with the turbulent air behind as a protective layer. But here we come into the final corner for the first time in this Grand Prix. Using a little bit of overtake out the final corner, try and push on a little bit. But overall a very good start, and we'll settle for that. We've just got to try and get out of the 1 second window by the end of this lap, and I think we'll all be good.
Okay, clear.
Well, one of the Renaults is out of the race. You can see the yellow flags behind.
Let's get back up to racing speed.
I'm not entirely sure who it is. It's Ocon. What a shame. After a brilliant qualifying at his home Grand Prix, he's out of the race. So fastest lap of the race so far. Bit of a shame actually, because we had about 0.8 of a second on Leclerc, but that final sector just got the better of us. Well, here comes Leclerc with the DRS, and he flies through. Not a lot we can do about that. That's what I meant. We couldn't break the 1 second window, and with the long straights around here, very tough to defend. Well, we're right behind Charles Leclerc now. We're going to have DRS. Can we repay the favour? I don't think we can. But you can see it's visibly starting to rain now. So it's all going to be a ticking time bomb of how wet that track becomes, and who comes in first and puts the inters on.
I think we're still on the right tyres for the time being.
But Leclerc's tyres are going to be dropping off soon. He's going to have to come into the pits. Well, Perez is in the pits. I wonder what tyres he's going to come onto. This is all very interesting for the race. Are they going to put inters on? So Charles Leclerc and Bottas have come into the pits.
Fuel settings, we won't have enough fuel for the end of the race. Consider lowering the fuel mix.
And it's now all about how long we stay out, you feel,
26.5 seconds
on these medium tyres to try and make it last until the intermediate tyres. I mean, the conditions are definitely getting worse. We know that much. But we got track position now. And that could be king here.
Temperature window. The inters are ready when you need them. Check your MFD for a new
There you
strategy
go.
option.
Inters now ready to come onto the car, which is amazing.
Copy that.
So we're coming in onto the intermediates. This lap, just got to try and keep the car in a straight line, which is not going to be easy, by the way. I'm going to make sure that's on no as well. We don't want that to mess us up again. We can clearly see that the conditions are just getting worse now. What will be interesting is do the rest of the guys come in? But we're in to the pit lane. And the strategy worked, you would have to say. And Kvyat and Albon coming in as well. Schumacher will be coming in. This could be a huge Grand Prix for those guys. They're coming out with the intermediates as well. So here we go. On to the as we go.
Release.
And we're out. And a racing point is staying out there. Kimi Räikkönen.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Kimi Räikkönen has come out. Or stayed out on the soft tyres. He thinks, well, he's not going to get to the end of the race, I presume.
There's 4 laps of fuel.
But it is going to be declared a wet race now. So I guess Kimi could go to the end on those soft tyres and try and eke it out, but you can see how much he's struggling now. And this strategy worked perfectly. Albon currently second. Yeah, DRS has been disabled. But on the straight, Kimi Räikkönen doing a good job. But we knew that we'd be able to outbrake him, so we're back into the lead of this Grand Prix. It's looking good for the W here.
Okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled.
And you can see, look at that. Albon, Kvyat and Schumacher are a net 2nd, 3rd and 4th in this Grand Prix. This could be huge for the championship, to be honest with you. We said at the start of today that we couldn't, you know, get back into the championship race 103 points behind Lewis Hamilton, but actually, you know, Hamilton might well finish outside of the points here, and this will be 25 points took off him. But there you go, Kimi has given up on the strategy of staying out on softs. So 4 laps to go here.
The gap to the car behind is 8.8 seconds. This is your final lap of the race.
So final lap of this French Grand Prix, and you can see we've absolutely bolted ahead of Alexander Albon. 10.5 seconds is the gap. And believe it or not, this track is drying out now. You know, I think we're just throwing up more water than is coming down, and it's creating a dry line. But it was the perfect tyre call. You know, that's why we were so desperate to get through on the medium, so we could try and go as long as possible.
Let's try to keep mileage on it to a minimum.
And it's worked out beautifully for us today. You know, Albon has done really well as well. I mean, a lot of the guys that are behind us managed to do it on the soft tyres. They managed to get through to the point where we had to change to the inters, and it was inspired really. And I think we're going to see a real interesting race order here as we go a little bit wide there. Let's just take it nice and easy, because these tyres are not going to be at their best now, because you can clearly see there's a dry line emerging in the middle. So I think we've got to try and keep these tyres cool on the outside lines. But here we come. As long as we get round this final corner, which we do, we're going to come through and we're going to win the French Grand Prix. Our 2nd Grand Prix win of the season, and that is an amazing feeling.
Great job, you've done everything we wanted today.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Paul Ricard. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
The faces on our top three look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all. So let's review the updated driver standings. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Lance Stroll certainly put in an impressive performance today. No doubt his team and fans are extremely proud.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Well, absolutely amazing to see that sort of result. You know, to win the Grand Prix in changeable conditions. You know, we made the most of it in the end. And Daniel Kvyat also finishing third. What a result for him. Albon second. Mick Schumacher fourth. What a result for him. Lance Stroll fifth. Lando Norris sixth. Charles Leclerc seventh in the end after having to make 2 stops. And I said it at the time, you know, we needed to stay out and prolong the stint. Sergio Perez finishing 8th. I mean, if he'd stuck on our strategy, maybe he it would have been a Jordan 1-2, wouldn't it? And it would have probably been quite an exciting finish. You know, we were allowed to look after our car. Bottas finishes only 10th. Hamilton down in 17th. He will be absolutely devastated because in the championship standings now, he's only 61 points ahead of Valtteri Bottas, only 77 ahead of us as well. You know, it's possible. A couple of DNFs or a couple of races like that and we're right back in it. But, you know, I think Hamilton has pretty much got it sewn up. But we're up to 4th in the championship. I think we can finish 2nd. There's only 3 pointless drivers now. Romain Grosjean, George Russell and Kevin Magnussen. Constructors definitely looking very secure in 3rd at the moment. Again, I think we can finish 2nd and you know, really push forward towards next season. But that's where we're going to leave it for today. If you've enjoyed that, hit the thumbs up button down below. It really does help out. It means a lot to me as well. Subscribe to the channel for regular F1 2020 videos, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching and goodbye.